Nana, exit liquidity hold, Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity hold, Nana, dump it all.
Crypto Nana, exit liquidity,
dump it all.
Hado Nana, dump it all. From the day we arrive on the blockchain and blinking step into the trade, there's more to lose than can never be won, more to dump than can never be saved. Influencers, tweets, and the noobs all follow, buying high, selling low at a game. But the boomers know, and Sailor, he knows that the dump is coming. It's all the same. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars. But the influencers always win with the Lambos and their cars. So beware of the pump and the inevitable dump, for the cycle continues and the news get wrecked. Nana, exit liquidity hot, Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity hot, Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity, dump it all. Hado Nana, dump it all. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Dump it all. Nana, exit liquidity hold, Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity hold, Nana, dump it all.
All right, so hey everyone, that was fun. That was a little bit of a shake-up. Funny enough, he just commented that it was 4 minutes long, but usually we end up being like somewhere from 2 to 6 minutes of like the intro or of the waiting screen time. So it's not that bad. But anyway, happy Friday. How's it going, my man? Good seeing you.
Good to see you, man.
And I have to say, not like it was too difficult for you, but thank you for having a good camera and microphone. The same cannot be said for everyone on this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, some guests have lots of stuff to say, and then they're just garbled or noise in the background or whatever.
yeah, but enough about Shamari. Um, sorry, we're just listen. It it is what it is, right? The thing is, the sad thing, or the unfortunate thing, I should say, about Shamari, who is he is not only very smart and he's working on cool stuff, but he likes to talk and has a lot to say. And so all that with, but then you can't really hear him because he's somewhere in a Wegmans with like the most potato ass microphone you've ever seen in your life, and so bad connection, all that stuff. It's unfortunate. We'll get him. I'll buy him a setup or something. I'll get something done.
Maybe you can see it. Maybe you could do it live. Is he coming to any of the conferences?
I'm sure I will bully him into coming to DashCon.
Yes.
So he loves a hackathon,
Yeah.
and so he should go. I don't think he's been to Europe before. I don't know. It's surprising how many people haven't, been, but will go for a good reason, like a conference.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a fun dude. But I also hope no one characterizes this as shit talking. It's because it's just being fun talking about our buddy there.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets all his apps working and bug free by then, because he's really good at cranking out like 8 different apps that are super hyped, and then they're all like in alpha mode. And I guess that's kind of what we needed at the time, especially, is to get all that hype going and look at all the cool stuff that can be built. Whereas, in reality, it's just like Pasta honing in on Yapper is like, that's like really cool. And it's just one app kind of, you just focused. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So let me just make sure everything is going well. We're streaming here, streaming there, streaming the other place. What'll be funny is one of these days, if we ever get like a copyright strike for the Circle of Exit Liquidity, just like that would be funny, because it's no one's thing. YouTube is a little testy about that stuff, and so when I really got the show going, I just used a bunch of weird random like sounds, and I just like mixed them because I can't make anything myself, but I just took a few random ambient sounds from some rights-free music thing and just put them together till it sounded like a music kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's just what I did. And no one can be like, I like several layers of like, well, first of all, this is all rights-free stuff. Oh, I heard something on your side.
Maybe I farted. Excuse me.
Is that what it was?
No, just kidding.
No. Well, I'm sure that's happened on the show before.
Well, we could always get people to make for you. Like there's beatboxers. I do a little bit of music. We could just make something, and it'll be completely copyright free.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been doing with the Cryptocorum stuff. All those things are all like original. They're like AI originals, whatever, and they turn out really well. Some of them, at least. And then all the bonus songs, like the Circle of Exit Liquidity and stuff like that. Those are all, for the most part, they're all, as far as I know, parodies. I think I've only did parodies. Parodies are hard to do because when you put them through whatever AI thing, it gets mad at you because of like copyright restrictions. So for all those looking at, I'll tell you the secret sauce. The secret sauce is to get a sketchy Russian friend, okay, or Moldovan, whatever. But and because they will find some sort of a Russian language karaoke edit version somewhere that doesn't have any of that metadata associated, and then they'll run that through the English wording thing, and they'll just change all the words in English to whatever parody, and it won't detect it as the same one.
Right.
And so that's kind of what happened with the Circle of Exit Liquidity, I think. But also, I did a Lana Del Rey parody of like, "Will you still love me if I was no longer a crypto millionaire?" And that was great. And again, that took some doing, and it sounded a little weird. There's what was the other one?
It's titled like Nazdrovia. But
Of course.
yeah,
There was um, I Need a Hero. Uh,
yeah,
I Need a Meme Coin. But that again, the music and beat is just slightly different because it's like a weird karaoke version, but it sounds good. Yeah, there's a bunch of fun stuff to do, and like the funny thing, and last little ramble before we get the thing launched, but there's people that are big AI haters out there that are just like,
hmm,
oh my gosh, you're stealing. It's not art. It's
yeah,
slop. You're stealing from, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, like this is like the best time of my life these last couple of years. Not only is crypto doing great, like not I'm talking about price stuff, but like all the stuff that you can do with crypto is great. But then with the AI stuff, I can like my life has been so much funner now that I can do like access the world's knowledge at my fingertips. And now that all my imagination, which was like stuck by either the limits of my own ability to use little drawing tools or the ability to pay someone, which I'd been broke a lot of my life, so I didn't have that. I just couldn't do anything, and now I just imagine things, and it just exists. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It's great. So, you AI bears, you're wrong. That's all I'm saying.
you're wrong. Yeah, because I
Wrong.
was gonna say you could just study music and be like, okay, listen, you want to do this in a 7/5 beat at whatever the instruments, choral background, and kind of describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot more fun to get a Russian
Yeah,
friend.
of course. And like I did, I used to play music back in the day, and it's hard to be as good enough to just do all that stuff, and then you gotta
Yeah,
practice, and then one of these days I might do like a live singing and ukulele version of the Circle of Exit Liquidity.
yeah, right.
So, never say never. I have started a podcast with a little ukulele thing before, but
Yeah,
um,
you're just a bag of tricks, aren't you, Joanne?
yeah, I've been called worse. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's get the intro, the official intro going, which I'll have
All
to
right,
redo the intros at some point, but it's fine. In
good.
the meantime, this one works. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So, hey everyone, officially now, welcome. It's the Digital Cash Rundown. It's episode 213, so that's well over 213 weeks in a row I've been doing this. As we were talking about on the Crypto Quorum space yesterday, I started this channel started February 17th of 2020. Although now that I'm thinking about it, that's when I started the YouTube channel. But before the YouTube channel was live, I started this channel first on Odysee, or it wasn't Odysee at the time. It was just the library network. So it's been on decentralized stuff since before then. So I guess I have to go like way back to figure out when that was the first one. But so maybe January. So maybe this has already been 6 years. In which case that would be crazy.
Celebrate. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. Time flies. So I'm joined by the one and only decentralized creative. There is no other person who is both decentralized and creative out there. Trust me, I've checked. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely just thought it'd be a good time to have you on, all your perspectives, all the good stuff, and all your, as I mentioned, with my gratitude at having a decent microphone and camera. So that just makes things a lot better. So yeah, thanks for that.
Well, I'm projecting being a podcaster someday, so I got to have the gear before I have the skills or the topics.
Yeah, I kind of feel like first of all, there's definitely a glut of podcasting out there. There's too many podcasts and people who think they're podcasters. There should be more people like you who actually could have something to say. But I kind of feel like the podcast guest is like the gateway to everything, sort of. You just get on someone's show, whether it's just like a buddy hang show, get as like a filler person, and then you like work your way up from there. Well, Spaces is where you start. You start
Ah,
on Spaces, and
don't
then
show your face.
what was that?
Where you don't have to show your face.
And there's just dead air. Like
Right.
there have been a few days where I've done over 6 hours of spaces in a single day, and it's like, oh my gosh, what stamina? Well, I'm just like clicking around, doing work, answering emails, and I just pop back in, say something. I'm just back to work. It's not that challenging. Whereas with your podcast, you're sitting there yawning, picking your nose. It's like, no, like a video podcast. So, yeah, especially like a one-on-one type thing. So then you get to be a guest, and then eventually you just run your own, and if you want to. I mean, I don't think it should be for everyone, but yeah.
I think it's a lot like the gym, to be honest, because gyms are up to capacity right now in January, and people just got the podcast bug, and I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that, and then they do 3 episodes and just kind of fall off.
Yeah, and so one thing, this is again many rabbit holes, but one thing is maybe personality wise, but also physically. So, like for example, genetically, they found out that people with Mesoamerican ancestry have a certain endurance gene that other people don't. That's why there's a high overrepresentation in boxing champions, for example, from Latin America. Also, when you get all like the ultra marathon type stuff, there's a tribe in kind of the northwestern Mexico called the Tarahumara, and they run really well for endurance marathons with like flip flops made of like a car tire, and they're beating like professionals from like the whiter parts of the world. It's just like this endurance gene, and like I am not strong, fast, or explosive, but I can kind of like I can kind of keep going. And personality wise, it's the same sort of thing. Like this, for me, showing up and keeping on doing the show for like ever is easy for me.
Well,
so, like,
there you
yeah,
say
technically. Sorry,
go
go
make
ahead.
cabrones. That's
Of course, that's how it works. Technically, I guess I started doing this show 2017 somewhere, middle of 2017. It was a different channel. There was the Dash podcast. We were doing a weekly Dash podcast with some friends, and then that kind of ended at the end of 2019. But then I started this channel to keep the Dash podcast going, and then that's why like the first episode of the Dash podcast here is like 100 and something, right? And so technically this channel started 6 years ago, but it could be like 9 years, and just I don't know. I never stopped to think about, should I keep doing this? Do I stop? I just keep doing it. And so
the only thing I think you should do is, because it can be confusing. Like, is it the Dash podcast? Is this the Digital Cash Rundown? So you should do different intros at least.
I typically do, but the last time I screwed it up and I opened the wrong thing. But I do have a different intro, and I actually had a different intro and everything when I did the Zcash podcast. I did 12 episodes of the Zcash podcast on this channel, and I kind of separated them. But people lump everything together. Some people come on this show starting to yell at me about the Dash price in the comments, and I'm just like, we're not talking about that at all today. Like, completely off topic. What the hell? So,
there you go.
That's it. All right, let me go shill Coin ATM Radar, and then we get on with this thing, because this podcast is, of course, as always, proudly sponsored by Coin ATM Radar. When you're buying crypto with cash, and ATM's definitely much more reliable and safer than meeting some random person in a random place. And unlike an exchange where you don't really own the crypto you buy, you do. And so use Coin ATM Radar to find all the different places you can buy and sell cryptos with cash. On their website, you can sort by location, ATM, if it supports selling as well as buying, and other things like that, as I'm kind of showing off here. And you can always also sort by geographical area, like country, state, city. And you can compare different fees in case there's some really expensive one. So find out more, go to coinatmradar.com, which is coinatmradar.com. And this is probably the first time I didn't like read the script while doing that, because I was messing around with the site, and it says that there's somewhere in Mexico City, it looks like there's like 74 locations of something. And anyway,
on one of your shows, I actually went to Coin ATM Radar, and I found a few like half a dozen ATMs in my area. There's like one
Interesting.
within, yeah, there's one within walking distance, and I think I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah, just check it out, see what it's like.
Yeah, I've seen it actually, but I just want, because it's got to be an option, for people who want to turn whatever dash into local currency. I've never done it.
Yeah. Um, I have a few times in where is it in uh, Spain and Croatia and some places like that where they had some that had a selling and buying thing.
Yeah,
There's one. There's a Dash one in Guatemala City here.
that's
Just
great.
looking at this one. Yeah, there's a few here. There's not really a lot in Mexico, but anyway, I'll play around with this sorting stuff another time. But yeah, so it's been quite the interesting couple weeks. It kind of feels like this is an early October show again because we're talking about, oh my gosh, bear towards the end of the bear market, but privacy coins are ripping. What's going on? It's like here we are again. Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think is fueling a lot of this?
Well, there was some news about some hacks going around X.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so that's some of it, definitely.
yeah. Let me throw that actually up on the screen. The Zach XBT thing. Everyone knows
Yeah.
Zach. He says on January 10th of 2026, which was 6 days ago, around 11 p.m. UTC, a victim lost 282 million, Jesus Christ,
Oh my God.
worth of Litecoin and Bitcoin. So basically, Litecoin's market cap. Just kidding, it's a lot higher than that. But due to hardware wallet social engineering scam, which, by the way, a friend of mine did
Mhm.
get did get a similar exploit a couple of years ago where someone said pretended to be from like Trezor support or something, and he was actually a developer, and it got him. Like I don't understand falling for that, but anyway, so that's what happened. So the attacker began converting the stolen Litecoin and Bitcoin to Monero via multiple instant exchanges, causing the Monero price to sharply increase. Bitcoin was also bridged to Ethereum, Ripple, and Litecoin via Thorchain. There you go. And here's the theft addresses and stuff. So yeah, it's just like that was a big one, and it just seemed. First of all, I think those instant swap exchange things.
Mhm.
I think the loophole, whatever loophole is out there for them, I think is going to be over soon, because they use centralized exchange APIs and stuff for all this stuff, and so. But then you don't have to have an account; you just swap through them, and I don't know. It's just sort of like it's like Shapeshift used to be, but then it's just all over the world now. So I don't know how long that's going to be out there, but I'm pretty sure they're going to close it down, because if they manage to close down a lot of these loopholes for most front ends of like Thorchain and Maya Protocol and stuff, then I don't see why like a centralized one wouldn't be vulnerable, especially when you could say, oh, they're all used for these hacks.
Well, yeah, but what are you saying? We should all go back to, or we're going to go back to centralized KYC exchanges for everybody?
Well, some people definitely will be sort of forced to that type of stuff. But I think that probably it's just going to be harder to do these kinds of things. And I also think that they'll have to go on DEX rails. So like the Thorchain swaps, probably most front ends blocked those addresses. And then you literally had to, as they call it, raw dog it by like finding the address of the Thorchain pools and sending manually with a memo in the op return field, like just putting it all together like Electrum or some wallet like that, and doing it to get the swap. So that's always going to be possible, but it's always going to be tricky. So I don't know. I think that's probably the way it's going to go. At the same time, there's so much unstoppability in all this, right? Where they used to be, everything crypto was pretty unstoppable because no one knew it existed, right? No one knew to trace things. No one knew how to do anything. And then it just ended up being, they started to crack down, but now like with everything on these like DEXs and so many swap services and things like that, it's starting to get like, it's getting harder again. So yeah,
What'll happen when people, when these sites could move to like decentralized storage for one,
Hmm.
and then decentralized APIs that are doing all the calls and smart contracts, and then they, if everything's on decentralized rails, can it be stopped?
No. So here, the thing is, this is it's funny how we went, like we barely started talking about this stuff and we're already going to like the end game of decentralization here. But it's sort of true where I think what you're going to see is a lot of a lot of these networks like BNB, like Base,
Hmm.
maybe you could say Solana, I don't know, are going to start to get censored to the protocol level because you can and just no one is. Like literally someone could call up Brian Armstrong tomorrow and say shut
Well,
down all this stuff on the base chain.
yeah.
And it's not as simple as him, he doesn't have a button, but he has, I'm sure, again, this speculation, right? I don't want to FUD too much, but I'm sure he has enough control where he can call up a few people and be like, we really need to do something about this. And they sign some multi-sig stuff, and then stuff gets on most things.
Mhm.
And, Solana is technically decentralized, right? It's not the same, but the Solana Foundation runs a whole bunch of validators from my understanding, and who
Mhm.
knows which other VCs they know. So I'm sure the Solana Foundation could probably make some calls and just be like, yo, people who bought a big amount of our bags during the early days, we need, well, we know 2/3 of the network. We can say,
Yeah.
can you please do this? And they might say no, but they might do some things if it's, big enough in their interest.
Mhm.
Whereas with a lot of other cryptocurrencies, and I would say, I don't know if I'd say that for Bitcoin today. There was a time when Bitcoin was relatively decentralized. Then it became Chinese mining cartel controlled, in
Mhm.
which is when Binance got hacked and CZ was talking about on a stream about calling up his miner buddies and having them reverse the transaction, and then he backed off when everyone freaked out. There was that dark time, and then it decentralized again after the mining ban. I think we're cruising towards a more centralized world now, where there's a few big like U.S. pools that could collude. But in the meantime, it's still really hard. I would say it would be very hard to get a Bitcoin transaction reversed at this point. You'd have to like call in a lot of favors with like nation states and stuff. It's so I think you'd have some censorship of those things,
Mhm.
but obviously there's a million choke points all the way down from App Store, from this, that can discourage things. But I do think that we are getting to a world very soon
Mhm.
where, just like torrents, nothing, you just can't stamp it out. It will happen if people want it to happen, and the only thing you can do is arrest a bunch of people who you find doing it.
Mhm.
Therefore, most people don't do it. And you can also just make it easier to do a better thing, like Spotify, instead of torrenting something. And then you can mostly weed out that stuff. But it's not going to be, I think you're getting to the point where law enforcement making calls to shut it down is just not, it's just not a thing anymore. It's just not the way we handle law enforcement in the future, I don't think.
Yeah, and then I mean, eventually, who are you going to call? No pun intended.
Ghostbusters.
Where people are not using phone numbers anymore, and
Hmm.
they're not using email because there's already messaging services which are decentralized and private and encrypted, and I don't know. I don't know if you will be able to call the police on raid somebody when everybody's got a VPN, so you don't really know where they are.
Hmm. Yeah, and like all these things are going to become much harder. Like the uncensorable parts are getting, like, they're not well understood enough, and I do think that blocking transactions in some ways and tracing things is going to get a lot easier by governments. Like it's a constant arms race, right? I think it's going to get to a point where it becomes kind of difficult, but at the same time, it's going to be, it's just like a case where everyone has, you know, taxes auto withheld, for example. That like happens a lot in most of the world, I would say, maybe, or at least the Western world. Like, how would you do it if you had to cut a check to the IRS instead of for everything you did? It's like, well, that used to be the case. Like, you used to do that. So it's, even if the government can't stop this kind of stuff, they can still sort of kind of stop it, even if they can't actually. Even if they can't control this stuff, they can get good at recognizing theft patterns. So if a big hack like this happens and then they just like snap their fingers, everyone, all eyes are on all the metadata and everything. They just see patterns here and there, and they're just like, okay, probably it's all in Monero, for example, let's just say. And like right now, there are actual practical tracing tools you could use with Monero. I know that there's some things that have been covered, such as if you use do a flooding attack on the network, where under the current privacy setup, not under what they're working on, but you could have yourself be most of the decoys on the network, and you combine that with some statistical analysis thing that some Monero researcher called Rucknium discovered, and you could get that theoretical ring size down to like 1.3. So you could majority probabilistically tell where the money is going, even if you can't see the amounts. And so then it's like, okay, then you just wait to see if you sustain that enough. Then you just wait to see where it comes out, and you're like, okay, the person who sent that, which we know it has an IP address in, let's just say, Switzerland, like a Swiss IP address. And it's like, well, that's tied to a known VPN. So we know they're using this, using, let's just say Molvat. I don't think they're Swedish, I think, not Swiss. I don't remember. But so I know they're using them. And based on some other things, they can be like, okay, we can correlate where I think this person is. They send it to someone else who didn't use a VPN, and it's like, oh, so you paid someone in this, and like then you can still find people, especially that's the thing people don't understand in the age of AI, where you can just take enormous data sets, just put it out there, all the transactions, all the IP address associations, all the things, just be like, find probabilistic clustering of everything. And you go and say, okay, this person can be in these 5 countries. He's at least in this time zone based on the transaction stuff. And then they can find it out. So like, even if they can't stop it, even if they can't actually trace it, they can still do something about it, and then they'll just have to be relegated to those techniques.
I think it was Diego Salazar. Was that on your show? That he was. Was it him? Did he go through like a whole chain analysis thing where they did this?
He must have. I think he talked about it on one of the Crypto Quorum things.
Yeah.
He must have done that.
Well, he posted the video, and I did watch it, and it's like a good 20 minutes of something. Just this, well, look at this. They got this money from this account, and this is from an exchange account, and then you kind of, I don't even know the right terminology, but the decoys and this. So these are decoy addresses and da da da. They did the whole thing just like you said, and then this is where he sent it out to somebody with a known IP, and that's how we know where the money went. Pretty damn impressive.
It is impressive. The thing is, and this again, the privacy rabbit hole is huge, but like, if you're a random person and you have good OPSEC, you use a VPN, or Tor or whatever, and you don't publicly say identifying info, and you're just sending private crypto, like no one's gonna see what you're doing. It's just you're basically covered. Now, where you start to have issues is if, first of all, if you're sloppy and you do like leave your IP address out in the open, and you say, I just sent 10 shielded Zcash to this person, and then on the chain they can't see, they just saw, oh, there was a transaction somewhere in there, but there could have been anything, no one knows. But they're like, oh, there's an IP address, that must have been him right here, so we know at the time you did it. Or even if there was no IP address, they just know because you said it. They just sent the guy some money. But the thing is, with big hacks like this, there's a big theft, and instantly all eyes are on that point right there. And because of the volume, there's only so many endpoints it could be out of. And so at that point, they have like enough starting crumbs to be like, this money went somewhere, find it. And then that's when the whole surveillance engine kicks in. But or the sleuthing engine, I should say, because it's not always like a surveillance thing. Sometimes it's people like Zach who are just really good at, and Tavano is another one who likes to analyze this kind of stuff. And then you could kind of trace a lot of these things all the way out and figure things out. So the biggest thing, if it's like if you're Snowden, you're Edward Snowden, you got to hide in like Russia, as he did. You're not going to just go anywhere else and just be like, I'm safe because I have good OPSEC. Like, no, you're being looked for by some very professional, dangerous people. They're going to find you.
Yeah.
The key is, if you don't want to be hunted like Snowden, don't do things like he did. Although I think you should do those things, but it's a big risk. The point is, don't get on people's radar, and there's no reason to chase after you. So like the kind of big things, don't do anything criminal and spicy on this side. And then also don't be like dumb and just leave your entire financial history in plain text with open IPs and stuff. And as long as you don't do those two things, people in the middle are largely safe, I guess. That's what I would kind of consider.
Yeah. You heard it here first, boys and girls.
Don't sue
do
me.
crime.
Yeah. Ooh, that's crime.
And if you do, don't leave it out in the open. Got to be careful about it.
Yeah. And there is some funny, because there's some comments, of course, on that whole thing about like, of course they use Monero because it actually works and all this kind of stuff. Objectively, by a lot of measures, it doesn't have the strongest privacy right now. That would probably be Zcash. And obviously we could argue about after full chain membership proofs, but it's not out yet. But the thing is, what people don't realize is there's a lot of like liquidity and infrastructure. So Zcash, despite being very private, has relatively few things you can directly do with it. And a lot of those things are more like legit type things. And so that's just a lot more choke points of like where people can say, oh, I know where this happened. Like some large flow into Kraken or something. Like, okay, or Gemini. Or you say, okay, a lot of volume goes through near intents. Like someone does Bitcoin and then they swap it via near intents, which I think does have protocol level transaction blocking, whereas Thorchain is interface level only. That's what I understand. But let's just say they go through Maya. Go through Maya protocol, go to Zcash. It's all shielded. And then, like, what are they going to do with it? Well, there's a few, like, regulated services that take it directly. Otherwise, you got to wait until it goes back through Maya again and be like, I wonder if that's them.
Same guy.
Yes. Whereas, like, Monero has a lot of, like, peer-to-peer for cash kind of swap systems, which I'm sure are riddled with feds, but still, it's, like, porous there. And then a lot of like local, darknet market things, a lot of local things. They intentionally beefed up this side of the ecosystem, so there's a lot more liquidity on the dark side of things, on getting out. And so there's a lot of that for Tether too, by the way. And Tether is super censorable and transparent, but there's a lot of thefts that happen with Tether because you can just disappear into these random markets and outflows, and then that's kind of it. It's the liquidity thing. So liquidity kind of rules all in this case.
I guess it does. And I was going to ask about that because not that I know for a fact, but I had this conversation last week with somebody who was exactly saying, how drug dealers do business in USDT. And I was like, that's pretty stupid, from my point of view. But if you're saying, they could just disappear in all these markets, then is it really that bad? If there's so much USDT going around that you could just kind of hide in the crowd?
Well, the thing is, USDT is super surveillable as well as censorable. So I don't know. I think that it's just like temporarily okay as far as right now. People haven't figured out how to do it. They haven't cracked down enough. I know a lot of people in the Russian-speaking part of the world have used them for sanctions evasion, but like Maduro did that too, and then they froze all his Tether. So, it's gonna happen. Yeah,
no, I see what you're saying. He's just so high profile, right? But somebody like me, I hardly ever use USDT, but like who'd be after me, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. It's just like the smaller thing. Now, if you're using something super transparent, someone will still be like, I have no idea who this is, but someone's transacting a lot. We don't know who it is,
Right.
and we are after unlicensed usage of digital currencies for buying tacos or something. Like this fits the bill. Let's crack down on this guy.
It's
Like
crime.
there's like, but then if they just see like, oh, someone's using like CoinJoin Dash, someone's using Monero, someone's using Zcash, whatever. Do they have a reason to care? No. So therefore, it's just too hard to figure something out about you out of first crumb in
Hmm.
order, and that's the thing is like, it's really hard to find someone if they're practicing really good privacy, but also if you don't know who or why you're looking for them. It's just like
Exactly.
some random person. It's like, oh, we're looking for criminals. Well, what crime? I don't
Hmm.
know yet. Like, well, come back when you do, because otherwise, like, where are you going to start? But if they're like, I'm looking for someone who stole a large amount of things here. We know this and that, and he's probably going to try to do this. And then they're just grabbing little bits of metadata until they compile it. But other than those couple of high profile people. Now,
Hmm.
the thing that's going to happen, I think, or we'll be made aware of this, I should say. I'm pretty sure it's happening right now. I'm sure there are LLMs that are combing through just every single public blockchain out there
Hmm.
and associating with that are also combined with like sniffer nodes on the network. And they're just like compiling the whole data set and just combing through it randomly and just trying to find patterns. Just
Yeah.
like, I don't know who we're looking for, maybe nobody. And then eventually they go, be like, okay, this is probably a person. And then they start to get a profile like, okay, this person earns their crypto. And then they go and spend it here. We can see this outflows here. This is probably the same person. Then they find another one. And then eventually they're like, oh, those two people are actually the same person. We found
Yeah.
something linking them together. And now it's just like, and now they start building these profiles. And then eventually they get down to like the country, the city, and then they start, you know, taking like street camera footage from timing to be like, which
Yeah.
face going
Yeah.
through would match a potential customer. And it's like, well, we can't find out. It could be one of these 50 people. But
Yeah.
then, which is the one person that keeps showing up as one of those 50 people every single time through? Boop, and eventually you're like, I know exactly who it is. I know what he looks like. I know everything about him. And so
Guy
that's
at
this.
the taco stand.
Yeah, it's a Mr. Taco surveillance ban. Oh, that's why I think everyone needs to practice good privacy today, just because. Just
I agree. I agree, man. And I do have to say, I did because I used to have like a VPN. I used to always use VPN just because of, you should practice privacy for no particular reason. And then I just kind of stopped paying for it. And
mm-hmm,
last week I got one that I could pay with Dash.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, and now I started using my VPN again and being careful with everything I do, and I agree.
mm-hmm.
And I started um I received some Zcash last week.
Nice.
Yeah. And since I didn't have any, I just kind of started, checking out the wallets. The first one I used was Zashi.
Of course.
Yeah. And so it's pretty cool. And I actually this morning I tried Near Intense for the very first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I did a Zec to Zec swap. I made a deposit. I wanted to see what you could swap it for, and then I'll just keep my Zcash for now. But I checked it out.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, pretty smooth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of those things where there's a concept of don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and a lot of times people are like just living in the robot world, the normie, the NPC world, and
Hmm.
then they see the problems associated with privacy leakage and other things on a bunch of different cryptos, and they're like, you know what? I'm not even going to do anything. Like, why? The government knows where I am. This kind of defeatism type thing. But
That so many times. Like everybody knows everything about me, so why would I want to practice any kind of privacy?
Well, yeah, and the reality with that is not everyone knows not everything about you. And so if they just know everything about you and then all of a sudden your IP address stuff gets scrambled, like the same people who know your accounts know your everything else or whatever can still know the same amount basically about you other than, oh, guess what? It's coming from weird IP addresses before. But someone who is only tracking your IP now is like, where did he go? And so
Yeah.
someone doesn't know that about you now. Or it's like, you know everything about your income, your habits, your whatever. And then some of it just goes into crypto. And it's like, I know he's buying crypto now. And then
That's where the trail
they
stops. Yeah.
there's just less data. And then the government knows the trail doesn't stop there for them because they know what they're doing. But for the other petty thief, for your neighbor or whatever, they're like, oh, I used to track his single Bitcoin address and refresh every day on
Yeah.
the Block Explorer just to see how much money he had to decide if it was worth robbing him yet or not. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the Bitcoin goes out and it just turns into it swaps for stuff. And then he's just too dumb to figure it out. It's like, and now he's like, I'm going to go rob the other guy who's still
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you just start pulling those bits of data off. And then same thing with decentralization, which is a good segue into this Hyperliquid thing here because as it's still kind of part of it. So Hyperliquid, by Community Crest, you can now long or short Monero perps or perpetuals with up to 5x leverage. Hyperliquid is a alleged DEX, right? It's a perp DEX, a perpetuals DEX, which basically means you can make bets on the price of a crypto, and if it works, then you get money. If not, you can get wrecked. And so Monero, this is another big part of like the Monero price bump here, is Monero got on Hyperliquid. Now
Yeah.
Monero's not supported by Hyperliquid, so you need a bridge. Now some guy, I forget what he's called, like Perpetual Cow or something like that, made
Familiar
this.
Cow?
No, Familiar Cow is the Thorchain, like one of the lead devs of Thorchain. Perpetual Cow is some other guy. I don't know what's up with these cows. There was
Different.
one of the top Dash developers in the past was Moo Cow Moo, but we don't speak of him anymore. So there's a lot of cows going around. Is my point. So Perpetual Cow, he created a Monero bridge to Hyperliquid, which is centralized. So he's taking your money and he's giving you IOUs for it, Monero IOUs, and then then you get to do whatever on Hyperliquid. And then if you want to unwrap it, I guess you trust him to do it. So it's not perfect. And Hyperliquid has, I shouldn't say much because I know almost nothing about it, but I've heard it has some centralization issues, but it's not as centralized as Binance. It's not one of those. So these are baby steps where you're taking some of this centralized trading infrastructure and putting it on like a blockchain that can't as easily be censored. And then eventually, if you get this Perpetual Cow, if he manages to get like a trustless thing where people can just press a button and he can't stop them from redeeming their Monero for real Monero, then that's another thing that's cool. And so we just inch towards like totalitarian control over everything is just now like a little less comes out of their grip. And so then eventually everything is decentralized. And that's kind of the long goal, but it takes a bunch of tiny steps.
Yeah. I actually did check out Hyperliquid, and I haven't done anything. The reason I've checked these out was exactly because I received
You receive.
I received some ZEC.
That's going in. I'm gonna tell my Zcash friends about that. They're gonna love it.
That was totally not intentional. But
Which, by the way, that reminds me of people who are making like ordinals and stuff on Zcash or like whatever, dumb shitcoin stuff on that. And I was calling them Zhitcoins, ZHIT, right? Because so everything with Z, right? Anyway, go on.
yeah, no. I was just saying that I checked out Hyperliquid because I had some ZEC, and it looks pretty cool. It looks very much like Binance or whatever, except it's supposed to be a lot more decentralized. The only I guess gripe is you gotta connect the wallet or log in with your email, which I'm absolutely not going to do.
Yeah, why would you do that? Like, that's the thing, and this is my beef against like Farcaster, right? I have this long running beef with Farcaster because I keep trying to use it and I keep not being able to use it. It's so like it's always like, oh, you need your email to sign up, and I'm like, first of all, if it's decentralized, why do I need my email? Second, I tried it and it won't send me the login code, so I just can't get in. So I'm stuck. Just can't do it. It's kind of funny.
We need a like a decentralized, like a Google Authenticator type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, there's a lot of things trying to do that. I know there's like people use like MetaMask for some things like that, and I don't know about that, but I know that the 1K hardware wallets, like a Trezor competitor, has like the work as a 2FA as well, so you can do that. It's 2FA for your crypto, but also the rest of your life, and I thought that was cool. And then I know Digibyte had like a Digi ID thing where you could log in using Digibyte or some authenticate. There's a lot of stuff you could do with that. I mean, you can already do that with the Dash Evolution stuff, because you have like an authentication. You have a bunch of keys under your Evolution identity, and one of them is like a authentication key, and there's a data contract right now that lets you password encrypt that on the blockchain. So you could do a username and password login in a completely decentralized way to like authenticate stuff. And so you could do that as well. I'm sure it'd be easy enough to put in like some kind of a security key, like a YubiKey kind of element to that, where you just have a decentralized authenticator that does that. I'm sure there's like but yeah, like an Authy type app, or like it's all centralized. Too much of it is centralized. Like, and I'm so like weird and old school that even encrypted password managers like Bitwarden and stuff, like the gold standard, I still like don't want to use that, because I don't want some server somewhere controlling my passwords, even if they can't see them. I don't know. It just seems weird. So I just want to use like an open source clunky alternative. But that's the kind of point we're trying to migrate. I think that
low tech.
What's that? Just the book?
Yeah, it's like a little book.
Yeah. Well, I do think we'll see a lot more physical crypto items in the future. And I'm not just talking about pure hardware wallets. Like they have those, like the physical hardware wallets. They have like physical 2FA cards. They have just a bunch of other things. One thing I like is OneKey and Ledger have their own version. It's like an NFC card that that is just like a seed phrase restorer. So you have like an NFC card that just has your seed phrase on it. So you tap it to your wallet and it just puts your keys back in there. So it's like much faster than writing it back in, typing it back in.
Is that what Tangent is like?
Sort of, but Tangent doesn't actually put your keys on a device. The keys stay on those cards. The cards are the actual wallet. Or the actual keys. And so you just tap them to like sign transactions. So like when you have a Tangent app, for example, and it's open source, so any app could support it, I guess. You just send a transaction, and you can't send it because you don't have the private keys to sign it. And you just tap it, and then it signs the transaction, and then that's it. So it's a little different. And then same thing with the Zipto card. Doesn't actually have your full private keys on it. It has half of them. So half are on your wallet, half are on the card. So you just tap it to complete the key to sign a transaction to send. It just acts like a 2FA. So there's a bunch of different things that all sort of work together. And I really, it's just all so disjointed right now. Like every company has their own. It only works with their stuff. And then another cool idea is some other company, and it only works with their stuff. And then some of it's open source, but no one's built on it. And it's just all kind of chaotic. And I think that we start to get that together, like combine all these things, and then we're going to start to get a good like private key recovery, backup, authenticator system, and then you just plug that into all your social networks, all your other apps, all your things, and it's your money too. And you just kind of get that whole thing, and then things are going to be cool.
Yeah. Well, they're cool now. It just you have to do a few extra steps.
Yeah, they're cool but clunky.
Cool but clunky.
Yeah, people.
Vault card is what the Zipto one is called. Vault key card, right?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it doesn't. So like if you lose, David Pena on Hive was like, "What time does it start?" It's like now, like
Started
this
that
is
thing.
live. And it said an hour ago I said 30 minutes, so like or whatever it was. So you can put two and two together, David. I trust you. But yeah, the Vault one, if you lose your phone, you can't get your money back. It's just it makes it harder to spend your money. So I really wish there was like I this is like way too rabbit hole in a lot of things, but like I really wish I like the Vault card, and I think that just for an average spending wallet, it really makes sense to have where I would like it for like a threshold type thing. So let's just say you have your phone wallet and you back up your private key somewhere else at home or wherever you do it. And that's your recovery. And then the vault card just gates a certain threshold of spending amounts. So you could spend small amounts without an authentication. So if you're buying coffee, you don't have to be like, here, let me do this too. Beep, all this.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this like magic signing ceremony to just buy something. But if someone steals your phone, it's like send the 5K or whatever he has in his wallet out, which is not a major amount of money, but it's big enough to where you'd want a 2FA. Then it's
Yeah.
like you can't because now you gotta beep the thing too. I kind of think that makes sense. But again, everyone's doing these cool like proof of concept type things, and we're not quite there yet.
It's cool to test them out, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel like a pioneer, but yeah, it does need to be a lot smoother.
Yeah, so I was throwing up this post from Paul Play on the thing about the Monero price pump, and he makes a good point where he said Monero's been delisted by dozens of exchanges, frowned upon by regulators, mining attacked by other chains, and has crushed the overall crypto market in 2025, now blowing past all-time highs. This is a testament to true utility, which this community has focused on since inception. It's kind of interesting, like community exit liquidity, right? You need community and utility to get these things, and eventually that's like the superpower. And then pushing up this Shiba Knight, again, I don't know who it is, but it just says Dash is the strongest coin in the market right now. Market is going down, but Dash keeps going up. This is like today, I guess, right? And then 28 Crypto said, watching Dash breaking out from its 8-year resistance. Yeah, where you see like the big top in 2017, the end of 2017, and then like the down channel, and now it looks like it's breaking. So like I'm not a TA guy. I kind of, people say I've heard people say that like TA is like technical analysis is like horoscopes for men, but like
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like reading tea leaves.
yes, of course. It just the thing is I kind of think that TA is like, and I don't really know, by the way. I know so little. I don't trade. I've swapped. I've never traded, if you know what I mean. I've never done any of the trading game stuff. But I kind of think TA is like 80% complete nonsense. And the 20% is like pattern recognition of psychological market behavior, where you see like, okay, well, so like, for example, you can see like, what do they call like bull flags or whatever, where you see consolidation period. Like, so if you see the price pump, like, go, oh my gosh, and then it sells a little bit and then buys and sells, and it just starts like consolidating in that range. It does, I guess, like it does tend to be set up for a breakout, like just because that it's a sign that everyone who's buying and selling and stuff is kind of like agreed on this price here, and they're not going to like sell it for less. So then if someone pushes it higher, it just gets easier. It's just some of these things do make basic sense. And when you see trends like uptrend or downtrend are I have noticed psychological trends like bearish bad sentiment about a project, this is including ideas even, and like towns to live in and countries. You could tell sentiment, and then sentiment turns around where everyone's like, yeah, this is good, this is going well. And then money flows in similarly in a delayed sense. So I guess when you start to see the money flow in, you can kind of see human trends of like people are trying to figure out where to go. So I guess it's like, yeah, it's. I don't think it's the thing about TA. I would say in particular is I don't think it's predictive. That's where the horoscope stuff. People's like, oh my gosh, it's like consolidating here, therefore it's going to go up, and it broke out of the trend, therefore we're seeing 8K this year or something. Like, dude, that's not how it works. But what you can say, you can show that like right now sentiment and momentum is turning around. But like predictive stuff with TA, I think is where people get wrecked.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to see what the TA was like on October 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watches everybody. Oh, this is we're approaching a consolidation period, and this looks like a head and shoulders pattern. And then October, everybody just got wrecked.
Yeah, because also you can't really predict. You can't predict things that impact things, right? You can't. So, like, for example, you get 51% attacked. Sucks.
Exactly. How are you gonna?
Yeah, that breaks. Or if you get a big theft that goes through your network, and boom, no one saw that coming except for the person stealing it. Like that person, he probably opened up some longs, you know. Which, imagine the power. Like, if you can hack 282 million, referring to the Monero hack, right?
Yeah.
Or a hack that turned into Monero. If you already know what you're going to do, I guess if you're a thief, maybe you don't want to open up a suspicious long because maybe that's what gets you caught. But if it's like on some perp DEX that you cannot get, that you had really good OPSEC with, and it's depending on how that works, right? You might just decide to do it to just amplify your gains if you have that as like a completely separate entity that's not really correlated. And like if you want to play with fire, you might want to do that. But also, I mean, if you steal at 282 million, it's not like you're not playing with fire already. So like maybe that would be fun.
That's like point break stuff, you know?
Yeah. Or imagine if you just like, hey, like you have a friend and you're just like, hey, I will give like, I'll tell you how you can make a ton of money. The Monero price is going to pump on this date. Open up some longs. That'll be 10 grand. And you just give it to him, and then before you know it, it pumps, and then you're just like, "Ooh, is my friend a thief?" But you don't know it 100%, so you kind of keep your mouth shut. And then the cops come asking you, "Hey, you made a nice amount of money on that long. What happened there?" I'm like, just lucky, I guess. But then if you crack under pressure, you're like, I know that, I think he did it. And then if you don't, then maybe you get away. Like, so many ways that could go.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to, it's fun to fantasize about being a criminal, but I'm just going to keep it clean.
Yeah. I mean, I have problems like emptying out like my recycle bin in time. Like, oh shit, it's recycling day again. Like, I am not near organized enough to live a life of the hunted. Like, I cannot, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I cross the, like, I could never. Like, I'm just not cut out for a life of crime. Let me just be very, very clear about that. So that's probably what keeps me, I mean, obviously moral compass is number one thing that keeps me away from that stuff. But then even the fantasies are a little weird. But yeah, part of this, so I did this post here about...
Are you putting these on screen, by the way? Because I can't... Yeah.
Yes, I'm putting it on just the tabs I sent you. You just put a little... So it said, Dash says, over 4 times the transactions it did when the price was at all-time highs. We had no evolution chain, no privacy overhaul on the horizon, and it was difficult to live all on Dash. Now it's easy for much of the world. This has been a slow climb, growing, blah, blah, blah. So just a hype post. But basically, the point being with all these things, like especially the privacy space, right, was just so larva stage in like 2017. So not a lot of people know, for example, that Monero only got confidential transactions in 2017. So prior to that, all amounts were public on the chain. So it was like, I think it would have been child's play to trace it at that point. But then they got that. And then as far as I'm aware, there weren't any, or there are very few mobile wallets at all at the time. And now that there's a bunch. And there's just so many things that there weren't. And then Zcash 2016, so coming up on the 10 year very soon. And then just no shielded anything on any good app anywhere. And now it's like everywhere. So like we're coming a long way. And the fact that people are like, oh my gosh, it's like pretending like it's a privacy bubble or something like that. It's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of feel like we're still on the climb back up because we're at a point where a lot of these assets had a much higher price. Like Monero might have hit an all-time high, but like Dash is far from the all-time high. Zcash is not that far, but it's far from its all-time high of like, I don't know. Actually, no, it is very far. I think Zcash was like 5,000 a coin at first. Like the first day, there was some crazy trading mania where I think one Zec traded for like 10 Bitcoin or something like that.
Jeez.
And so now, and that didn't last very long. It lasted for like a few hours. And then everything calmed down. But then the Bitcoin ratio has gone in the complete opposite direction for the most part. And yeah, it's crazy to see the comeback system or whatever.
Well, I don't know if it's a bubble, but I mean, I'd like to think that people are waking up to the importance of privacy.
Yeah. As I was saying on the space yesterday, I don't so much see it as like, it's not so much people just speculating on this coin's going to go up or this one isn't. It's kind of more of like a principles thing. Is like people are speculating on the fundamentals bearing out. And so it's speculative, yes, but it's speculative on something of value. It's like they're speculating on real value, which is, it's good to know that still happens in crypto. People used to do that. Now, most days they just speculate on speculation. And at least they're like, well, I think that this very critical element is going to be huge in the future. Therefore, I'm hoping I make money on that. So it could be worse. Definitely could be worse.
Definitely.
Yeah, with all the cool stuff being built. But something kind of came out of left field a little bit. And, you know, again, as I mentioned before we started the show especially, I talk about Dash relatively little on the show because, you know, it's the day job and I just whatever's popping in the headlines. But there's plenty of headline stuff today about it. And the big one is the Eon Pay, which this kind of fell out of left field a little bit because Dasha, or Web3 Daria as she goes by, has been doing the just kind of, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but like I think she met Quantum Explorer, like one of the Dash devs out in the East Asia area, and or someone knew her, and there was a referral thing, and basically just said, oh yeah, you go around doing conference stuff and doing business deals, you should you should do a proposal or something. And so she did, hit a lot of conferences, took a bunch of selfies, and then DM'd me a million things about, look, I gotta talk to this person about this thing. Here's a group. So I have like 8 as of Wednesday or Thursday morning, Wednesday night. I had like 34 Telegram groups with unread messages and pings for me, and I was like, I've gotten it down to like, well, let me actually check it what it is right now. I haven't opened it. I'm down to 14, so that's pretty good. And a couple of these, I just see some random persons trying to shill meme coins to me, so I gotta just block that. Okay, now I got down to 13. Okay, but I'm making a dent. But the point is, she's been hustling, so she introduced me to these people. We talked, and we're like, all right, let's add your coin. I'm like, great. It's so from my understanding, first of all, this means people who either have the Telegram mini app for Eon Pay, which I'm gonna have to try out, or have a few of the wallets like I think OKX wallet and a few at Binance wallet, a few other wallets that support Dash and this, can then go scan some QR code in a bunch of merchants and pay. So that's like 50 million locations around the world, which sounds like a lot of merchants, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a lot of Southeast Asia, a lot of Latin America, from my understanding, a lot of some Africa, and from my understanding, because I've been trying to say, oh, like this is awesome. Where can we actually like spend it?
Yeah.
And it's like, can we get merchant data for like a map? And so basically it seems like in the countries where it's supported, it's like a very popular thing. Like, doesn't like Brazil has like a QR code Pix or whatever? I think they had some basic QR code payment thing, which is kind of universal in the country.
Oh,
And I know India has the UPI, the whatever that is, universal payment, whatever. And so it's just kind of like everyone, it's everywhere. And so supposedly in a lot of these countries, it's like 75% of the merchants there just will take it. So it's like, don't put them all on the map. It's kind of everywhere. So
yeah.
I hope that's true. And the next step, of course, is I really want to get it integrated into the Dash wallets, so that then from just the regular Dash wallet, you could just scan some QR code in a lot of these countries and just pay. And that's where it gets cool.
That'd be fantastic. But it is amazing news so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know more or less what countries in Latin America? Because I'm curious now.
Yeah. And so it says 50 million offline merchants across Southeast Asia, Nigeria, Mexico, Brazil, Georgia, so, the Caucasus, Georgia, and Peru, with further expansion planned across emerging markets in Africa and Latin America. So I'll have to do some research into where it's at right now. But, as I've covered on the show a bunch of times, Monerotopia is next month, like 3.5 weeks. And if there are, I got to do, one of my big goals is to have my research done as far as this is concerned in Mexico by then. Are there places that widely accept this payment in Mexico? If that's true, I'm going to be spending the shit out of it. I'm going to download whatever wallet I need to do. I'm going to do Telegram. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to make some content. Hope no one shanks me on the street or whatever. And then, it'll be cool. And I can't wait for this thing to be kind of like everywhere. It's one of those big amplifying factors.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing news, and you did a good job. Then, and Dasha, shout out to you because you also made it happen.
Yeah, and like she kind of got the whole thing set up. I wasn't really aware of this system, and she got the whole thing. She met with them in person at, I think, one of the Binance something weeks or whatever. Got it all figured out, and then then we just chatted and have been figuring it out since. And then I've thrown in threw it to our PR team to try to shop it out to media, and now we've got a bunch of things out there. And now there's 2 podcasts, actually one this evening I'm going to do, that are talking about it as well. So like it's just like a confluence of things that comes together. So all this happened right around the same time as we had this interesting, like the Yapper thing. So finally, people started vibe coding some stuff on Evolution, the Dash Data Network, also the T-shirt network, as it were, right? I got my Evo shirt on. And the biggest one of those was Yapper, which is something that Quantum Explorer, the lead Dash dev, kind of coded up over like a day or half a day about 6 months ago, just to be like, look what we can do. No backend server. This is nice. And then he just left it. And Pasta, who runs the core side of things, not the Evolution side of things, he doesn't, more like core is all like C++ stuff, Bitcoin based. Evolution's all like Rust, and it's like also web stuff too. So it's not really his domain necessarily, but he just started vibe coding up and fixing some stuff on Yapper. And he's been shipping features every single day since then.
Yeah, I saw his demo on X.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was pretty cool. It was like 4 or 5 minutes, but just like feature after feature after feature. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he did some interesting things. Now, the only challenge, so I'm going to show some of the stuff he did today, I guess, or some of the stuff that's out there. But the testnet explorer, the block explorer, as far as I'm aware, let me just double check, but I think it's down right now. They have to testnet migrated versions and they didn't really fix it. So, it is operational. Wow. So January 16th, by the way, today, there's been almost like 5,500 transactions on the evolution chain, which is a nice spike.
Yeah.
And so so it seems like one of Dash's testnet, like Dash's two chains, and the testnet for one of those chains is generating more transactions maybe than the entire Zcash network today, for example.
Wow.
So we're finally, and the thing is, I would say Yapper is probably a big chunk of this. And once we migrate to mainnet on this, I think we're going to start to see like this is like the growth engine. It's really starting to come off. So now the testnet is functional, I can show some of that stuff, which is nice. But anyway, I'm just going to show off some of the Yapper stuff, and I don't know if you can see from clicking on the YouTube link or whatever, but we're just running around. But if you go to like yap.pr and you sign in, whatever, I'm already signed in. So just a basic X style feed. And so here's a hashtag. This is the announcements hashtag. So everything that Pasta has announced. He's basically the only one. Oh, Splawik did one too. Okay. So I just clicked the like, as some of you can see. I'm going to look at the testnet explorer, and here is, of course, the transaction chart. You see a big spike it's been growing, but then a big spike. 13 seconds ago, this was mine. So post ID. So this just says I liked, document type like, post ID. Pretty simple, right? So anyway, you have basic things. You can just say live on the digital cash rundown right now, and just do
Can I go
dash.
check the transaction?
Yeah, I can go post, and then you go back to the transaction 4 seconds ago, and this is it, right? So content live on digital cash rundown right now, hashtag dash, language EN, English. So I guess you could do a mode on Yapper. I don't think you can now. Maybe Pasta will do something about that later, but maybe you could probably do some sort of a mode that will change your posts to a different language identifier, and then just like a different language interface for this altogether, which would be nice. So you could just switch with just like local communities. And here's XK has a little saucy lady gif here, right here, and so you can do like image previews from links, all that kind of stuff. There's a way you can hit a tip button and you can just send Dash directly there. Obviously, you have notifications just came out today, so you have a notification list of like all your your follows and your mentions. Here we go. And then the messaging thing is really cool because you have end-to-end encrypted DMs already and can just send them. Now, let me just say, I'm going to send Daff something. Let's say, it's really nice, huh? I send him a message just so you can see how it works in the actual. Let me refresh it here. The number of Yapper demos I've done is crazy. They're just like all the time because there's always something new. Yeah. And so here we go. So I sent this and I sent it from here to here. So if you want to be super slick with it, maybe it won't work, but it says conversation ID. So document type, direct message, conversation ID, encrypted content is this. So you can't see what I said.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so it's all there. There's bookmarks. I have not done bookmarks. Yeah, I did one. I don't know how that works really, but that's fine. Some of the cool things. So let me go to the profile because there are some cool things here. So you have an ID, which is like a long hash, and that's your whatever. And then you can register a username which refers to that. So this one, my ID was linksyboy.dash, but just now I registered all these usernames here. So you can actually register more from your actual profile. You got the desertlinks.dash, and this is all testnet, by the way. The Desert Linux, I got that one out. Also TDL, Linksy Boy, and then Desert Link 603. So live here, I'm going to register a couple more. I'm going to do
Caracal. You
which
know,
one?
the actual name for a Desert Lynx is a Caracal.
Oh yeah.
I learned that last week.
So let me check the availability, and it's available, but it's a contested. So this is a quirk of the Dash username things. If it's a short username or it doesn't have like a bunch of numbers, then it's like a premium one, and you have like a voting period to fight over it. On testnet, it just gives it to you pretty quickly, like because it just to test it out. But on mainnet, you have to wait a couple of weeks for this. So like, let's just say
So if we both wanted it, what would happen?
we would both hit register. You'd have 1 week to contest it. So if you don't contest it within a week, the other person will probably just get it by default. And then the master nodes vote on which one is the one that gets it, and then the other one doesn't get it. And so they can also vote for no one. Like a couple of people have registered like slurs as usernames, and the masters just didn't give it to anyone. They're just like, no. So the point is, I'm going to do the Caracal. I'm going to register this one, and it's registering. Registration complete, and it's awaiting voting. So I don't have it yet. So in the meantime, I'm going to do. First off, I'm going to check the availability of the one I just did. I just want to see. Oops, back to edit. I'm going to do that and do 1337. Just add a few numbers, check availability. I register that one, and then I get it immediately. So now if you look back at my profile and you see all my names, Caracal 1337, I already have that one, right? So I wonder, I gotta see if I can figure out how to do with the primary one. Anyway, so location. So first of all, I have my display name, Linksy Boy, profile picture, whatever, and my bio. I'm a Lynx allegedly. My pronouns are kitty/cat. My location is Dashville, which it's not true that you're in Dashville. That's different.
Exactly.
And what I have here under my website link, again, this is just like, I've just been testing this out. None of this is serious, but this here is, and I hope it loads. It always loads weird because I've completely vibe coded some web page, right? And sometimes I have to refresh it. But basically, all the content and the metadata and stuff on the page is on the Dash network, and it just directs to that. So I've kind of made a Dash website, and it's apparently not being. You know what happens? Testnet upgraded to version 3.0, and so probably all my shit broke. I need to redo it. But anyway, it was just a basic proof of concept. So I will have like a blog and other things on there. But anyway, on your profile, you can register your social links too. It's my Twitter, GitHub, Discord, Telegram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Mastodon, Instagram, and other, which is my Hive, Desert Linux right here. And tip addresses. This is cool because you can register external crypto ones. I have 2 ones, and for transparency, the Dash one is the proposal that I have with the Dash network with the Dash DAO. That's that one, and this Monero one is the privacy project that's had the Monero donation to it to overhaul Dash's privacy. I put that there just in case people want to donate to either one. You click it, and it just opens up with the QR code, and you can copy the address, right?
Oh, this
so
is
you can
fantastic.
just go right to someone's thing, scan it, send it. And then here's my posts, and then there's also mentions. And so far, only Pasta's mentioned me.
I'll mention you. I think I've mentioned you.
I don't know if you have. I did look up your profile, and you have no username, so you can go load that thing up. So there's account details. Here's the identity, the balance, when it was created. Oh, I need to load it up. And all the usernames.
Well, I thought I did.
I guess not.
But
now you can do it right from your profile. So under contacts, you can. This is actually new, right? If you have people in your DashPay app, your DashPay contacts, you can find if you followed them or not. So you can auto import everyone you've ever paid in the DashPay app, which is really cool. I don't have any DashPay on testnet, any contacts on that, so that's it. Notifications, these are things that have notifications. privacy and security, backup, blah, blah, blah. Public profile, activity status, link previews. Because of link previews, it says privacy note. Rich previews send URLs to third-party proxy servers to fetch metadata. These services may log the URLs you view. So like people who are super cypherpunk about this would not do that, but I don't care because it's a public network. This is all public, so I don't care. Read receipts. Let others see that you've read your messages and read receipts. Those are on Evolution as well, I think. Which is, it's cool. It's like all this stuff is like, it's all in the actual network. This is a requested feature that I did. Block lists. So whoever Pasta and XK are blocking, I also will auto block. So,
or spam or whatever.
Yeah. So if someone starts pumping it full of weird illegal content or anything like that, you can have a bot that just auto blocks all that stuff. And that if you just subscribe to the block list of the bot, then you just don't see it and you're fine. And just great. It's a great way to like decentralized moderation things. I haven't blocked any users yet. Right, security, appearance, system light, dark. I might as well change to dark mode. People judge you if you don't do dark mode, which is weird.
Hurts the eyes, man.
It does.
It does.
I think you should change depending on the day, the time of day. So Yapper, decentralized social media, whatever, commit, branch master, all this stuff. Learn more about Yapper. Decentralized social media, how it works, your identity. Gives all this stuff. Open source, view on GitHub, and view the data contract. And this is where it gets nerdy, so I won't really show too much in it. But the data contract, this is the entire data contract for Yapper. And see, here we go. So it's like version, owner ID, documents, profile, type, object, all that kind of stuff. Bio, string, user biography, max length 160. Like these are some for people who've never touched code, including like HTML, this might be a little weird. But if you've done anything, put anything between brackets, you understand what this is. And the whole contract is there. That's kind of the whole code, sort of. Document types, profile, avatar, all this other stuff, key features, and then deployment instructions. This is how you do it. And so you can deploy your own Yapper, by the way. I like that this is all really laid out because now you can just copy and paste this and make your own version of it, and it just works. You don't have to learn it all yourself. It just tells you how to build one. And Pasta's GitHub, where, again, this was the original repo, Yapper, made by Quantum Explorer. That was 6 months ago. He made this basic thing. And then Pasta forked it to his own repo and started working on it. I really like how he's done it, where he explains it. Core social, discovery, he explains all this stuff around it here. Tech stack, framework, Next.js 14, app router, language, TypeScript, blockchain, platform at Evo SDK, styling, Tailwind, CSS, all that kind of stuff. And then getting started, the install dependencies, start development server, build for production, etc. And this project structure thing right here is really cool because it just says, here's all the entire structure of things. Like it's kind of like a basic, like almost like a sitemap, like a flow chart of all the stuff, so you just understand how it's built. And also there's the main social the Evo stuff is right here, and this is the coolest part. Main social contract, this is the social one. Then there's the DM contract, and then there's a hashtag contract, and there's the encrypted key backup, also known as username and password login contract. So each of those things are modules, basically. So if you want to build any app on Dash, you can just use one of those things. So like, for example, let's just say you wanted to do any kind of app where you have authentication, which is most apps. You just take the username, the authentication module, and then now anyone who created a Yapper account can just log into your thing too. And then I've been thinking about this, doing a website, and for the support, like, you have like the support query, like you fill in a form that sends your email. It's usually spam. I'd like to do one of those using the encrypted DM feature that just will DM the identity that deployed the website. So let's just say you have @Decentralized Creative, and you have a website that's just built into that. And anytime anyone messages the support on the website, it just goes right to your encrypted DM. And there you go.
Oh, sweet.
That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
And so, especially if you just build that into every single website, so every single support chat is just the encrypted DM thing, except it's hardwired to just message one identity associated, like the support identity for the website. And then if you're in your XDMs, right, your Yapper DMs, then you can see like you messaged some website for support, and then it's going to pop up in there, and you get to answer. So you don't have to be like a cat watching a mouse hole, like seeing if you get a support thing. And you can implement that as well. You can implement all kinds of stuff. And so what I want to do is I want to create and I'm working on this a little bit myself and my gross vibe coding self, is a website data contract, like a basic website data contract, and then also a blogging module specifically. So you could let's just say I could put in, who knows if Pasta is watching this stuff, he might be, who knows. He might beat me to the punch, but like, how X has like an articles tab.
Yeah.
Like to basically do like a blog article tab where if Yapper wants to put it in, they can, but even if they don't, it still could be, you could plug in at any website, have your blog feed, and you could just plug in your website's blog feed into any social media thing, for example. So, yeah, I think that the blogging feature, here's the thing about the blogging feature. Like the thing about this, because it's all it's all unified and modular, is the web is centralized, censorable, but also fragmented. You have so many different logins, and if someone censors you, everything goes. So if I create this blog feature, if I add a commentary under that feature, like a threaded commentary thing under that, then now I have a Reddit. Now I have a Reddit thing, and you can just use it as, you can use the blogging part, but not the commentary part. You can just show the blog, and that's your blog.
Yeah.
But then you add the commentary part and upvotes, and then now that's Reddit, kind of. And then you can also add that, but then put it on your Yapper feed. Now it's like X articles, and you just plug it in. All the data is already there. You don't have, the user account is the same. You just got your Dash account. It's just all connected. It just works. And like a lot of this stuff is like, I haven't dug too much into the guts of like the Hive ecosystem as far as like how it works at like the coding level type thing. There's some overlap for sure. There's like a lot of overlap, but it's still something that like the fact that you have your private money app and then it's all in there as well and it all works. I think we could be onto something. What do you think?
I think you absolutely are onto something. And I like that the feature, the fact that you can kind of put different address wallets for different blockchains for tipping and stuff like that is really unique. And all these features, what you talked about just now, just kind of, well, you can pull the data from the blockchain, post to your website's blog, or have the discussions with the replies and have like a decentralized Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking amazing, man. Reddit has a bad rep for censoring. If anybody remotely says something that sounds shilly, I'll be like, oh, that's not allowed, you're banned.
Yeah, Reddit has its own like reputational problems on the whole. Like it's kind of gross. But I do know a friend who was he is the owner of the was it the Golden Black subreddit, which is like the top like anarcho-capitalist whatever subreddit. And she just kind of like quit doing like the Reddit stuff because Reddit became such a cesspool, and he thought about making his own decentralized one, and it just, it didn't work out or whatever. I think you'd like something like this.
Well, could, if he watches this, he could get some ideas.
Yeah, and he might just be like, he's a legislator now, so he might have with like a bunch of kids, so he might have other things he's doing. So, yeah, it's not everyone needs to do everything, but the point is like, I think if there's like an interoperability mission, like vision to just get all these things, these components done, and then because of what you can query and you can't. Like this has like all these document types, and it's just this contract only queries half the document, so it doesn't show this stuff. So you're fine. Just use that and only query these couple things, and you're good. And then you can just have like, you basically build like a super app, kind of, and then each module on the super app is a standalone app as well, if you just want to do that. And then it just becomes, and there's a website called Dash Central where people go and submit budget proposals to the Dash DAO. I really want that to be migrated to this too. So it's literally just like a Reddit thread on, you know, about the proposals. And so just, yeah, it's all Dash Central. There's a bunch of weirds. There's some crazies on there too, as I'm sure you'll see. And I think that charging them money to be crazy would be cool. Like I want the Dash network to profit from their schizophrenia. So, but my ambition is by the end of the year, and the year's just started again, but New Year's resolution maybe, I want to migrate almost all my life that I have, my digital life, to like decentralized Rails on Dash mostly, and just see what I can do, and then try to migrate like internal, like our own house, as to get your house in order, right? As far as like all Dash discussion forums should be on here. And I'm sure that there's got to be like public facing, like you're never not going to have an X account. You're never not going to have a website. Like you need to be accessible. But as far as like the forum doesn't need to be on non-Dash servers at all, right? It's just because you don't need to spend Dash to read it. Maybe to write it, you need a little bit. But as far as like anti-spam things and stuff, I think it could really help out a lot. And yeah, we're looking on some cool things. And so the kind of concluding thought on all that is I kind of feel like it's hard to encapsulate all of crypto into like a couple of things, right? But like you have your money and your data, and of course you have exchanges and other DeFi, whatever. But you get your money and you got your data, like your money and your apps. And so as far as like, first of all, with Dash you get to do both, which is awesome. You get all in one network. You don't have to use one for one, the other for the other. It all works on the same monetary standard. Your Dash that you earn and pay for your coffee with, you also pay the actual blockchain to put your website up, for example. But in the data part, from my general understanding, there's three big things to the whole web, three pillars. And people might, much smarter than me in the comments, will jump in and say that I'm an idiot, I'm sure. But there's three big components out with it. There's data, there's like file storage, there's like metadata, and there's computation. And so Dash does one of those really well, which is the metadata. That's what the Evolution platform does. It just has this equals that, that equals this, document here, pull it all, and then you get it in. It works. The actual file storage, like if you want to put a movie or even just the index.html file to get your site on, that's like somewhere else. So, and then computation is like either you do that locally or that's like a smart contract. And so that's not done by Dash. So what I would love, that is on the roadmap for Dash though, is smart contracts, so therefore computation. But so like every website you'd need, 80% of those use a combination of the metadata and the file storage. There is no file storage on Dash right now like that. And then the other 20% like have some like you run a smart contract, you do some DEX and it like computes something. And if you don't want to do that locally, that's done by the network. And so we're working on that part. I would really love there to be a decentralized file storage system that's built into Dash just so you don't have to go outside for it. So like the simplest thing I could think of is like an IPFS pinning system that just you upload to IPFS, you choose the Evolution master nodes, the Evo nodes, pin it for you. You choose kind of the threshold, like you say, I want like 15% of the network to pin it because I don't really care too much and I don't want to pay too much money. And so only some of them would store it. And then you want maximum pinning would be like 80%. So therefore it's super available and super resistant, but you pay a lot more for it. And even then, it's not 100%. So if it's some encrypted content that ends up being spicy or weird, any node can have plausible deniability that they don't actually have it.
Right.
And so you just have this system, and the Dash fee system is already there where you pay for permanent storage, and you can get a refund at any point up till 50 years. And during that time, it bleeds away. So if you wait a couple years for your file storage, you don't get it all back. You get a partial refund, right? And so like that tokenized system is not in like Filecoin or storage or IPFS services or torrents, or it's not in that. Like the whole system could be just cool. I can't do this myself. I will never be able to vibe code a crypto protocol. I should be very clear about that. I can vibe code plenty of like websites and basic web apps that do this stuff, but like you don't want to do that for a protocol. So someone, I don't know if anyone from any of the Dash devs are watching this, I'm going to keep on harassing them to do it though. I want them to code a data storage solution, and then once we have those three pillars, you have this unified, the entire decentralized web can be on this one thing.
Yeah, well, that's a fantastic way to look at it, Joel. I hope it's to fruition. Who else can, because right now I know about Pasta, and I know, who else did you say?
Quantum Explorer.
Quantum Explorer, yeah. But I mean, from what I know, they're either working on Evolution or particularly on Yapper. So will they ever have free time to do this, or is there going to be somebody else that can jump on board and help out?
So here's the thing. Any open source project is open source and anyone can contribute. There's a few, I don't know how many platform devs there are right now. There's definitely Quantum, and then Paul from research, as I call him. He used to be in research. Now he helps with like the Dash Evo tool and stuff. And then there's Ivan, used to work full-time in Dash, and he did other stuff, and now he's back at least on a contractual level, building out the SDKs and stuff. Oh, cool. And then there's a couple other, I can't get all the names confused because I don't pay attention to who's working on which, but there's a few other devs on that side. And then there's a couple on the core side. So anyway, there's already people working on it. Anyone can come and contribute to it if you're like smart and know Rust and all that kind of stuff. As far as I think what we need the most of is rigorous, thorough testing, and then coding up apps, like web apps that just plug into this stuff. And vibe coding, again, if I could figure this out, anyone can. And so we're at the point where like there's nothing like there's Dash Pay, which is the actual payment app. It's honestly the hardest, what I would think the hardest app on all of Dash is the first one that came out, because it liaises between the core protocol and the evolution protocol together, and it has to dance. It's a pain in the ass. So that's out. But other than that, the one big app is just Yapper, and it's not on mainnet yet. Yeah. Now, what I want to build, and I'm sure people anyone who wants to, my github.com/thedesertlinks, right? That's my repo, and I haven't put anything except that one stupid website that's not working in there. But I'm going to try to build some tools for like creating a website, or like basically a web interface where you can log in using what Pasta built for the authentication thing, and then just like create a blog or write to a blog right in like a web thing, so you don't have to copy and paste commands and do an SDK and all that stuff that we do that I've been doing right now, that is still I'm struggling with right now, right? So I want to build a tool that makes that easy, makes building a website easy. What we need now, I would say, is a lot of tools, like tools where you just log in and then you can build an app with it, kind of thing. And then once we get the tools out there, then the user-facing tools, kind of like there's a token generator tool that Skolver, I don't know, how you say it, but some German dev made, that you can create your own tokens, and like those kinds of things, I think are really cool. And then we're going to do a hackathon at some point. We're going to partner with NanoGPT. So if you build it with Claude or whatever using NanoGPT paid with Dash, you can earn a prize from their side as well as our prize. We're going to figure this out. It's not announced. I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll make that happen. And then it'll be really cool. And we get to build a lot of things. The goal is by the end of the year also full blocks on the evolution chain. We want it to be like
Fantastic.
tons of activity. And I think we can get there.
I guess what we could do now, or at least what I can contribute, because I cannot code for the life of me, but we can get the word out. And there's a lot of, different communities where people are developing interesting things. Like I was thinking about, are you familiar with the Three Speak group from Hive?
Yeah, I've used 3Speak a bunch, but
Yeah.
I don't know if there's. I mean, I know the people behind them. I guess is that who you're talking about? Just like the devs?
Just like in general, the people behind the Three Speak project. Which, just quick side note, there they came out with like a new version of the interface, and it's pretty cool. Has a few upgrades. One of which is it uses the Hive keychain for authorization, which is very cool because it's a decentralized tool for you to authenticate. And I find that really awesome. It was kind of ironic that you had to log in with email and password before, but they've since fixed that. Anyway, they had this idea about building a decentralized storage network called the SPK network. I have no idea what they're building it on, but just to in my head, it makes sense to have a chat, see what they're building, and maybe share resources and notes and see what can be done together. But my point is, there's a lot of people that if we can do an effort of talking about what your vision, or I say you as in anybody's vision, to build the three pillars of decentralized data storage and metadata and computation, they might want to, if they know about it because they saw us here or heard us on Spaces or read a blog, they might want to contribute. So my contribution is going to be yelling about it and kind of writing about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good thing to do. One, and I guess sort of the final note on that I'll say is, like, as far as like what you could do with it, Dash is for a money. Let's forget about evolution for a second. But Dash is like on par or better than something like Litecoin. But Litecoin is used 5 to 10 times as much, depending on what transaction volumes you're looking at. So we need to get up to those numbers. What I think would be what I think we really need is a lot of like salespeople, which is not really me, and I don't really know, but like people who can just talk, go to events, go to meetups, Chamber of Commerce, this, that, whatever, talk to the guy at the gas station, however you do it, just talk to people and onboard them to like wallets and services, and then just like make sure they're like using the stuff. And I think that's something that I think we should start practicing now and see if there's anyone who's really good at this. People have a talent for that, right? It's a skill as well as a talent, but it's also like a talent. If you're good at doing like sales, like onboarding people to stuff, hey, look, I signed up 20 people to like, if you're that guy or that gal, start practicing now with some of the Dash stuff, because as soon as we get payroll options where you can actually earn your salary in Dash, I think it could be, it's over at that point. You just say, hey, sign up with this thing, get 10 to 20% of your paycheck. Let's just, because you could get 100% if you're a true believer, right? But let's just say 10, 20% of your paycheck auto turns into Dash into your wallet. You then just spend it on everything, and then you migrate some over to your social stuff, and then you start posting on Yapper, and you start post on your Reddit, you migrate your website. Thing is, no one's going to migrate their website the way I do now. But if you just say, here's a tool, give to your web designer or web developer to just like auto post, run a script that just auto backs up your regular website to here. And it's like, all right, you pay a little backup fee. And then eventually you can just have like a builder that just publishes your pages straight to Dash, and you get rid of the hosting entirely. And so
Yeah.
now you're just paying the Dash now, like stuff like that, just to start onboarding people to this ecosystem. People who aren't salespeople, if you know a salesperson, think about it. Think about how you're going to do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's kind of also any multi-coin wallet that you know of that you think would love to have usernames and contact lists powered by Dash that works for all their coins. Get them in contact. I'm working with a couple. I'm talking with a couple that might want to be the first to try this out. But I'd love that to Dash be the digital identity standard, as far as like, this is your Dash username, these are your Dash contacts, and Dash handles all of that for all your crypto.
I don't know how the Mocha people are handling that, but I think they'd be more than interested to hear about this.
Absolutely. And of course, everything gets a little. The reality is, like, everything gets a little. Like, everyone's working on kind of the same thing, and then not every solution meets everyone's short-term needs, and sometimes you just like, well, we have our own in-house one we'd rather use, and they do that, and sometimes you just have to like wait for one of these solutions to fail. And then now it's just like, hey, you want to now use ours? Okay, fine. And then it's just like, that's my same attitude with all these different crypto projects. Is like, I'd rather not compete directly first. Like, we just got our niche that we do. And then eventually I'd like to like compete a little bit, but in a very friendly way where if we overlap, like, that's kind of my view with like something like, say, Hive, is like, if we start overlapping with some of these apps and things like that, that's fine. Don't be hostile. Just do whatever you do with yours, and there's a chance that one of the two 10 years from now won't necessarily be the top of the list anymore, and I'd much rather have those same users just like use both, so they're on whatever wins, and then they're fine. I mean, maybe they both win, who knows, but like if you look at all the good digital cash coins, right? The Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Monero, Zcash, Litecoin, Nano, Firo, Quai, Xano. Might be missing a couple in there, but like maybe Pivx, but Pivx is like fading away, it looks like. Again, no hate, just saying. But like all those, they're not all going to win. And I would say maybe a third of them are going to stick around, if I would be honest. Some of them are going to die. That's fine. Just learn from their tech. Have users that are not just on one chain, have users that know what the others are doing too. And so then eventually just consolidates. Like, at the second one of these chains starts to like not look like they're going in a good direction, I want all their users to not go back to fiat. I want all their devs to not just look at some random otherwhere. I want them all to come to us, to the Dash world rather, or go to the Zcash world first. Just jump over there. Just get absorbed back into the survivors and make them stronger, and bring your ideas. Be like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna name something that might fail or whatever. But like, hey, you know what? We have this feature at the chain that I'm kind of leaving because it's kind of not doing super well, but you guys don't have it. What can we do about doing that? Or like, hey, we have this really cool app on this chain. Like, for example, Twetch. Twetch was a fantastic social media app built on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. And it had a bunch of cool features. One of my favorite ones was something called the Troll Toll, which if you can't block people, instead you would have to pay a certain toll to match. And I thought that was an amazing feature. I am advocating, again, I don't know. Yapper. I call it a Yap screen, maybe. I don't know. I would love to put a Yap screen up. I would love, because you will. Here's the thing.
You can call it like a Yap trap.
You just like on Inleo, you have subscriber only content that's encrypted that you need to pay in order to get a decryption key for, or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how it's all handled, but I'm sure you could do that on Yapper as well. Just like decrypting DMs and stuff, but like being able to comment, I guess you could find a way of like token gating some of that. It'd be a little weird to do. I don't know how you do it, but I would love to implement like a troll toll or like even a DM toll, because like you already have a DM toll in terms of it costs some money to post something like a cent to post on the blockchain, but I don't know, a DM toll would be pretty fun too. Yeah.
I think all those tolls are pretty useful. The first one being like, well, you do have to spend some Dash to create an identity, right? So you don't flood the network. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, the thing is, we'll have to figure out how are we going to keep things from getting too expensive. That's another thing to figure out. But, you know, we could go on forever about figuring out different things that we could fix. Let's do the wrap up and the shill o'clock. Is there anything you'd like to shill right now in this moment?
No, yeah, I'm gonna sit the shill o'clock out. I'll let you do the shilling because I didn't bring something I wanted to shill.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you can probably make clips for people if they want to reach out to you, right? That's something you do a lot of.
Yeah.
Unless you're all over the place with that.
Well, let me shill myself. I'm Decentralized Creative, and I do during the day. I run a marketing agency where I can create media for you. I'll be happy to make video content. I'll clip whatever content is already on your social media and turn that back to you, subtitles, and add some funny noises. Songs like the Circle of Exit Liquidity, if that's your thing.
Yes.
And you can find me at decentralizedcreative.com or on X. So hit me up.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, I definitely crank out a lot of cool clips and stuff, and we're going to I am going on a show at some point in the future, and I've looked at their clips, and their clips suck, and I might have to be like, yo,
help these guys.
You got to overhaul. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. This has been a fun show. Share, like, comment, all that cool stuff. But also, I'm gonna not guarantee it works well, but I have I'm gonna try to play an ending video for you guys. Let's see if that works. And if it does work, I will do this as a free, again, not being paid for this ad, unlike Queen ATM Radar. I might run this as an ad for everything for everyone who shows up there. But anyway, in the meantime, if it doesn't work, I'll just do the regular end, and we'll just play you out. But bye, guys. See you guys next week, and get a little of this thing. Here we go.
Adam, we're here because we love you. And we're all tired of watching you get abused.
Abused? By who?
Oh, hi, I'm Visa. I charge you 29% interest, 3% foreign fees, and make you wait 3 days to see if your payment went through.
But I thought you were my friend.
No, Dash is your friend. Instant, private, under a penny, and with Dash Spend, you walk into over 100,000 stores and pay like a boss.
All ready, yeah? Awesome, thank you very much. Feel alive, guys. This is awesome. Tastes like freedom. And I save 5% by using the app.
That's the Dash High, baby.
Let's go.
Download the mobile wallet, one tap, boom, financial sovereignty.